What's up, Eagles fans?
What's up, YouTube?
This is my brother-in-law, John. We're both frustrated about the Eagles. We're going to vent a little bit.
Frustrated is not the word, but
This is experimental, so if you guys like it, let me know. If you hate it, maybe I'll beat him up. I don't know. And you can watch that. Or he'll beat me up. It'll be fun. All right, so yeah, first, tell me your thoughts on why we suck so hard. That guy.
I'm the biggest Wentz fan there is, and the guy's
I
terrible
can attest to
right now.
that. I can attest to that. He loves Wentz.
He's just not playing good. Whether it's a down year, whether it's mental issues, whether it's trust issues, he's got a problem going on, and the whole team's struggling because of it.
All right, so I do think Wentz is a big problem. I think that the play calls are a bigger problem. One of Wentz's strengths is to roll out, and once didn't you say he said he was going to do that and then he didn't do it?
Yeah, Doug said in the press conference he was going to do more, and I think they said one play in the fourth quarter. So it's not really helping your guy. You think when the guy's struggling, you do your best to get him going, but Doug seemed to do the opposite of that.
Exactly. So as far as Schwartz and Peterson, to me it feels as though they are trying to lose. So that's not something you generally do in the NFL. So that's why I don't really think that's what they're doing. But the way they play call and the way they scheme the defense, it could be a 3rd and 4. All right, well, we got our guys 12 yards off the guy. We don't want to get beat deep here. Like, what are you doing? You got a man coverage for the 3rd and 3. If you get beat, you get beat.
I just think Jim Schwartz trusts his players too much to think that they're all stars, and he has favorites that he likes to put out on the defense that aren't the best guys.
This is Lyra, by the way. She's from Out of the Woods Rescue, New Jersey. Look us up on Facebook. Very lovely cat. So, continue.
I just think top to bottom, everybody. Doug's got a problem. I think Howie's doing a terrible job of putting a team together. I think Jim Schwartz gets rid of the good players, the guys he likes, he keeps that aren't the best, or that he picks favorites.
That's actually a great point.
Shouldn't.
It's a great point. So, yeah, Howie as well. He's just dropping the ball a lot on these picks. I don't know who's picking these picks. That Jordan Jefferson thing is just
Justin Jefferson.
It's like lights my ass on fire. Like
they're trying to be smarter. They want to show that they're not just picking the guy. Everybody thought they were going to pick Justin Jefferson. So it's like, let's pick the guy nobody's thinking about, Jalen Reagor, who, not saying the guy's not going to be a good player.
second. If we didn't pick him, he's going in the second round. Unquestionably.
But Justin Jefferson's just already tearing up the league with a less than average quarterback, Kirk Cousins.
So you know that going in, and it doesn't stop. I mean, it's just like a ton. Like, I didn't hate the Hurts pick, but it made no sense. If
you're trying to get weapons for this offense, Jalen Hurts was not the pick to go. And it shows you that in the back of their mind, they either didn't know if Carson was going to be healthy, or they didn't know if he was going to be the guy of the future. But then if that's the case, why sign him to a 5-year, $132 million contract?
Right. So I don't know when Carson Wentz became a gunslinger. It might have been, this season where he thought, I only have 2 seconds or I'm going to get killed kind of thing.
Well, I think that he's always been that kind of big play mentality, gunslinger type of guy. It's just in 2017 it worked for him.
But even then, he didn't throw that many picks.
He was never an interception thrower the first 4 years. Well, his first season he threw 12 or something, or 14. But then the next 3 seasons he had 7 in each season, and this year he had 7 by week 4.
Yeah. So it's unbelievable. So.
I don't think the interception thing is going to stick with him, but I just don't know what their plan is. Like, if he doesn't play good, and then Hurts comes in and plays well, is their plan to then make Hurts their starter for good? Because in going into next year, at this point, if you get rid of Wentz, you're starting this whole new quarterback process over again. It's not just, Hurts is the guy. Hurts was a good college football player, always was. But he lost his job at Alabama because a better guy came along, and he was never, when he played big games, he never showed up. He was never the guy that was take over the game and win. He just didn't do it. That's why I think he fell to the second round, because he's got the talent, but he never showed up in the big games.
And I think that's important.
And I think that transpires to the NFL, which if you don't show up against the good teams in college, every team in the NFL is better than the college team. So is it really going to show up in the NFL? And that's why I just don't think people are so easy to jump on Wentz as the only problem when his team wasn't built good from the start. All right. He's the easy scapegoat.
All right, so explain this to me, because back to play calling for a second. Eagles seem to me like they're good at running the ball. Okay? Now, you ran the ball really well against the Browns in the beginning of that game, and then let's take Miles Sanders out. Let's put Boston Scott in. Let's put, who else did we put in? Was it Clement?
I think Clement played a little bit. I think that Doug's he's so worried once he gets behind that he's going to lose the game by running the ball. Which, I mean, if it's working, what's the difference? If you're moving the football, what does it matter? He was 13 for 63 yards, I think, in the first half, and then he got the ball 3 more times after that. You hand the ball to one of the best running backs in the league 3 times when you're down.
And he's a 4-down quarterback. 4-down coach. So if you're between the 40-yard lines and you run, that's 4-down territory.
Yeah, if it's like 3rd and 7, 3rd.
Run him 3 times. Run him 4 fucking times. No Wentz sneak. Just run him 4 times. They can't. You tell me you can't get fucking 10 yards on 4 plays?
Yeah, and I just don't understand. They're not utilizing the screen game. Sanders is a great screen back. Scott's, that's what he does. He's a screen back. He's going to get behind the lineman, find the holes. That's what he was good at. That's what made him so good at the end of the season last year. And I just don't understand that. And Dallas Goedert's a great screen tight end. They run them a lot with him, and they seem to get away from the screens this year. I heard a stat there that the Eagles had like 50 yards through 9 games on screen plays. That's unheard of. That's one Brian Westbrook play.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Brian Westbrook did that on 1 play, and the Eagles through 9 games had that 50 yards. That's ugly. That's disgusting. You think you'd accidentally pick up a 40-yard play on a screen?
So here's my problem with this. It goes back to the play calling. Is, in my opinion, Doug is trying to put a square peg into a round hole. Right? You're good at running, but instead of running, you're going to pass. We're not good at passing at all. But we're going to pass because we're behind. We got to pass. But wait, we're good at running. If we run, we might be able to catch up.
Yeah. The other thing is, Travis Fulgham had a couple good weeks, and he's shown that he's an NFL talent. But now he's getting covered by the number 1 corners every week. And the thing with the Eagles is it seems like all the receivers can't get separation, and it's like if they're not wide open, which doesn't matter because clearly Wentz can't hit a wide open receiver right now either, but if they're not wide open, Wentz is afraid to throw the ball because he doesn't trust anybody, and I think that his lack of trust leads to his bad play in general. I think he has no trust in his offensive line, no faith in his receivers, and he's just out there thinking he's got to be the guy on every play, and that's why he holds the ball too long. He's hoping for a play to open up down the field. He's hoping for something to do with his legs, even though he doesn't have what he had 3 years ago. And I think that he's just trying too much, I guess. And I think it just leading to his bad play. I think he needs to realize that he doesn't have to be the superstar every play of the game. And if he realizes that, I think he'll play better. But right now, I think he just thinks he has to be the guy every single play. Right.
So, and I'll argue that these players are not great by any means, but they're not terrible like they were last year. So today you're rolling out there Rager, Fulgham, Greg Ward, and Goddard, and you're throwing Rodgers in there, who I broke his balls. He's the slowest tight end I've ever seen, but he catches the ball.
He's catching the football.
He does what he's supposed to do. Right now. He does what he's supposed to do on offense, at least, and what we pay him to do. But so those guys aren't terrible. They're not great. I won't even. I might even use the word. I won't use the word good. But they're average at least, and they're not below average anymore. You can't say that anymore. And they're dropping the ball a lot, and it's pissing me off. I understand last week.
I definitely don't think they're dropping as much as they were last year.
It was raining this week, so I'll give them credit. But the last week, too, they were dropping balls.
Yeah.
You just can't have... We have more drops in one game than Larry Fitzgerald has in his whole career. It makes no sense. It's just insane. I'll give a little bit of blame there. But these players aren't awful. The O-line, it's really bad at times. It's super bad at times. But I'd say 80% of the time, maybe even 90%, they're giving you enough time to make an NFL play. It's Carson that's holding on to the ball too long that's getting them sacked some of the time. Now, some of the times it's a fucking...
And I wonder if sometimes, if he's not drawing up plays that are like 2-step, 3-step drops to get the ball out,
Yes.
Because I feel
like the Giants used to do to us with Eli.
Oh, because Eli had the worst offensive line, and they played Eagles. They'd be like, all right, you know what we're going to do? 3-step drop, slant play. And it killed us with it. And you think that you almost have to tell the guy. I mean, maybe that's a problem. Maybe Carson's just not listening. But you think that they're telling him. They would tell him, hey, 3-step drop, get the ball out. that RPO stuff, that worked for one season. NFL teams adapted to it, and that's why nobody does it anymore. I'm not saying they don't do it anymore, but like the way the Eagles ran it with Nick Foles in that playoffs, nobody does it anymore because they just found a way to counter it.
Right.
Because no team did it in the NFL the way the Eagles did it with Foles in that playoff run. And I just think that they're not drawing up enough plays. Either they're not or he's not listening that are getting him to do better things.
All right, so let me ask you this now. So when it comes to tackling, right, I played football. The proper form on the tackle is see what you hit, obviously. But when you are going in for the hit, or the wrap up, I won't even call it. You want to wrap up more importantly than hit a guy. So you want to wrap him up, and it's around the waist. So when did the NFLs go from, especially the D-backs here, they want to punish you with a hit, that's first and foremost, instead of wrapping up, or they want to attack your feet. So it could be Gronk running at him, and then
Well, for a guy like Gronk, they're never going to go for the body because they'll never bring him down.
Right, but I'd rather you miss the tackle by going for the waist and getting maybe pushed down towards the feet, because you're going to trip them up enough to where someone else can come or whatever. But specifically diving for the feet, and you see this every game, someone's jumping over the guy.
Yeah.
So explain to me, why are they not teaching the wrap-up technique? Is
Well,
it because of size?
I think part of it is they do teach wrap up. I mean, that's basic. They shouldn't have to teach that. That's basic tackling. You should know that. But guys, everything's about the big hit, the big dunk, the big home run, the bat flip. In sports in general, it's about who can punish the guy the most.
This even transfers over to major league level of baseball. How many times you see a guy, Jimmy Rollins, not run a fly ball out? You never know if that guy's going to drop it. Oh, I hit a dead double play ball. I'm just going to take my time. You never know if that guy's going to fumble the ball. So if you can't do that at the pro level, it just aggravates the fuck out of me. But it's not just Eagles. This is how every team plays now. It's like, I'm going to dive for your legs to tackle you. And not only are you going to dive for the legs.
Remember, Asante Samuel could never tackle.
Yeah.
But he's great reading the ball, so that's why he kept him on the field.
Right. So not only are they diving for legs, they're telegraphing that they're diving from legs from 3 yards out. They're already full dive. If you are going to go legs, get really close and then go legs. So where you would miss said stiff arm coming your way.
Yeah.
Hey, here, come on in here. Sit right between us.
Okay.
Sit right here. We're filming my vlog. I think this is day 9.
Oh, hello.
And we're talking Eagles, and you know stuff about sports, even though you got a bad mustache.
Sure.
This is his best friend, Bobby.
How you doing?
All right. So why do you think the Eagles suck, Bobby?
Well, I couldn't tell you. I mean, Carson
He's a
Wentz,
Flyers fan first.
Yeah. Carson Wentz has been playing like shit, I guess. Are we allowed to curse on this?
Yes.
Sorry. And then Doug Peterson really hasn't been adapting his coaching too well, from what I understand. But I haven't been watching too many of the games this season, unfortunately.
All right. So another thing I want to jump back to fucking what's his name, Jim Schwartz for a second. Is it me or is this motherfucker doing prevent defense the entire game?
No, I wouldn't say he's doing prevent the whole thing. He's just got a system. It's send 4 guys, hope my corners can cover, and that's just what he is.
You just remind me of how we got sacked when they sent 3 guys. They sent 3 fucking pass rushers and we got sacked. I forgot all about that.
Part of that's just Wentz holding the ball too long. Part of that's the O-line fucking blows.
Especially, all right, so I want to make a formal complaint about the officiating in that Browns game. Bottom line is the Eagles still could have won that game.
That play with Baker Mayfield, if that was a running back, that would have never been called forward progress.
I don't care who it was, it should have been forward progress.
It should have been, exactly.
It
But
was still
wasn't,
going on.
if it wasn't a quarterback, it would have not been called forward progress.
All right.
It was the worst forward progress call I've ever seen.
And let me ask you this question. So, in the football, I thought we could review a pass interference. Is that not the truth?
No, they got rid of that after 1 year because it was a horrible rule.
Okay, all right.
Because the coach, the refs were almost afraid to admit that they were wrong, so they just didn't overturn it even when it should have been.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now. You said that.
Unless it was a blatant, they were never going to overturn it. So.
Okay, I'm trying to think of any other things here.
It's a sports Bible.
I see that.
I now pronounce the man and wife. So, Bobby, you're not really that big of a football fan?
No. I mean, I like watching the games, but never really grew up on football. Or any sport, really. I just kind of got into hockey when they made the cup run in 2010. Whatever, excuse me.
How old were you in 2010, Bobby?
15.
Say hi.
Bobby, how are the Flyers going to do next year?
I think that they'll continue to improve, but it'll all be, whether or not everyone can click at the same time. I mean, couple seasons ago, Drew was the best he's ever been. You know, he scored 102 points, and then we continue to get better as you know, we replaced our coach with Lane Vigneault, and we got Carter Hart back up in
Got hot
in the NHL for the first time. Provorov got his game back.
And the flow back.
Yeah, and the flow back. Ivan Provorov. And then, you know, Ghost has still been iffy, but he's decent enough.
And you hate Ghost, right?
I just think he had that 1 year where he was, you know, he did that same move and nobody could figure it out, and
then
he had
they
those
figured it out.
7 overtime goals or something, and they figured it out. And he's terrible defensively, and
He doesn't try anything new.
his offense isn't there anymore. So if you can't play defense and you don't have offense, what are you contributing to my team?
Yeah.
All right, real quick, I just want to mention that run that Chubb had against us.
Chubb is absolutely
That was the best run I've seen ever since when Marshawn Lynch ran against us in that one game.
Nick Chubb's just a great running back. I can't say that because I've seen Derrick Henry do it so many times.
But you see every NFL play. I only seen the ones
That's
involving the Eagles.
fair.
So remember
Speaking
Marshawn
of
Lynch?
Derrick Henry, he's the best running back, I want to say, in the last 10 years. He's like the new Adrian Peterson.
Wow.
He might win MVP this year. He's that good.
Wow.
That good.
So wait a minute. So do you remember the game where Marshawn Lynch broke like 4 tackles and was eating Skittles on the sideline?
That was the year that the Seahawks were 7-9 and made the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So since that run, that Chubb run was the next best run I've seen since then. Like it was so good.
He's a bigger back in terms of he's got like the big legs, but he's got the speed. He's got that breakout speed. And he's strong. And Kareem Hunt's got that too. That's why the two of them work together so well.
Who the fuck is that Browns punter? The guy looks like he's a power lifter.
Oh, he's they call him the Scottish Hammer. He's from Scotland, yeah.
His arms are bigger than
rugby.
They all play.
Soccer
They all play soccer, but they're usually the rugby players come from Australia.
This guy looked like
The Eagles' left tackle played rugby.
he looked like a white Brian Dawkins out there.
He's a big dude.
Unbelievable.
Have you seen the kicker for where'd he go now? He was a kicker for the Giants. Alex Rosas.
Yep.
Dude looks like he came from prison.
All right. So who is your favorite Eagles player right now?
My favorite Eagles player right now, I mean, it's probably Wentz, but
Wentz, bro.
And what about you?
Nick Foles? Just kidding. He's on the team. That was a joke. I promise.
Got carted off the field with a hip pointer. Trey Thomas was laughing at him.
I mean, like I said, I haven't watched too many games this season, so I guess Carson Wentz.
I mean, after Wentz, it's probably either Cox or Brandon Graham. I mean, how do you not like Brandon Graham?
I love Brandon Graham. All right, so 1 for me is Kelsey. 2 is this one was like 1A and 1B, and 2 would be Brandon Graham. But before
I haven't seen a guy since. I feel like Brandon Graham's like the new like Dawkins. He's just always like love for the city, no matter how bad the team is. And I feel like he's just.
And positivity.
He's positive, and I just feel like
he also doesn't curse.
he always got a bear out because he never had the sacks, but he was always like top 3 in quarterback pressure. And this year he's finally getting sacks in 33?
Yeah.
People wanted to get rid of him 3 years ago.
Last year they wanted to get rid of him.
It's just like
when Dornbos was our long snapper, he was my favorite, but since he's left, it's been Kelsey and Graham.
Him being traded from the Eagles was the
all right,
best
predictions
thing
for
ever
tonight.
happened. Predictions: the Seahawks never blow anybody out, so it's going to be like a 31-21 game. The Seahawks are going to win.
I think if I was a betting man, I'd put a decent amount of change on the Seahawks. The only thing that scares me about this game now is that they admitted that if Wentz isn't doing great, if Wentz isn't doing great, that they're gonna pull him and put Hurts in. And I think that might actually help the Eagles win.
Well, I definitely don't think Hurts is going to help them win, but we'll
This
see.
guy right here is the world's youngest Eagles fan. Come here, you. His name's Chase. He's pre-verbal, but he's a huge Eagles fan. Right? Right? All right, well, I think the Eagles get smoked. I think they cover the spread. And, have fun, everybody. Go Birds.